Hello, Adrian Learns. I had to start a little bit early just to catch your raid. Welcome, raiders. Welcome to Full Stack Live. I'm Jochen, the Monospace mentor. And how is everyone? That's great, starting the stream with a raid already. Even though, I'm completely unprepared here. How was your stream, Adrian? You didn't stream from this morning on. Was this a 5 or 6 hour stream? And what did you do? It's always great watching Adrian learning. I really love the stream. And so, yeah, it's important to... give Adrian a shout out. 5-something hours. And not a lot of progress to show for it. I'm sorry to hear that. Trying to automate going live notifications. Ah, that's brilliant. Yeah, what I did is what did I do? I think I used make.com to post to my Discord community when I go online. Oh no, 503 loop detected. Maybe some kind of a redirect loop or something. You'll figure it out. I'm very sure that you will. So I guess you definitely have deserved the DEF CON 1, even though it didn't show on screen because I wasn't online yet.
Flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEF CON 1. DEF CON
1. Little belated raid alert. Brilliant. So, I was just about to start the stream when you raided me. So, what I'm going to do today is mostly work on my varnish workshop. I do courses at monospacementor.com, and I have planned a varnish workshop for February. Meta Kolov, welcome to the stack. Happy to have you. Thank you for the follow. Such a great movie. That's correct. For some reason, Matthew Broderick did all my formative movies, mostly war games, and of course, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Awesome stuff. Duke, welcome to the stack. Happy Tuesday. So, Tuesday, that reminds me, on Friday we did an office hour stream which took a little bit more than an hour because we had a lot of questions and interesting conversations. And just when I switched over and raided White Panther, Hamida74 gave 20 community subs. So if you find yourself with a sub icon in front of your name, that's because this absolutely mad person gifted 20 subs to the channel right when I was switching off, and I didn't actually notice it because I missed the sound and everything, and only later I saw the chat log and saw 20 people having subscribed, which confused the heck out of me because why would everyone subscribe at the same time? So I thought, well, that must be a bot run away or something like that. And yeah, that wasn't the case. Then I looked at my activity feed and saw that HMEDA74 gifted 20 subs to the channel, which of course exploded my sub goal and made my day, to be honest. And actually, if I'm online today, you probably can thank HMedia74 for it as well, because I was a little bit doubtful if I really was into it today to do a stream. My morning was a bit went off the rails schedule-wise, in part because my son has his 11th birthday, and then I upgraded my home server, which I'll get to in a minute. So the morning suddenly was gone, and I didn't even do my daily walk. I walk 5 kilometers if I don't run them. And so everything was off, and I felt off, and I'll pass it on. Why do you want just asking? I'll pass it on. So I thought, well, maybe I should just take my walk and think a little bit in silence and figure out what to do with the rest of my day. I'll also probably watch the Hey Creator conference, the online conference, later from 5 p.m. on. So yeah, maybe I should actually cancel my stream. But then I realized I have to cancel my stream on Thursday already because of a work appointment. We are meeting with our marketing agency, and that's an important meeting. So I'll have to cancel Thursday. And then I remembered there are people who actually spend their real life money on community subs or subs in general on this channel. And well, I thought I owe you getting online. If people can actually part with their money because they like what I'm doing, I shouldn't deprive them of that. And so yeah, I gave myself a kick in the behind, and even though 20 minutes late because I still had to get lunch and make myself a coffee, which reminds me. Yeah, here I am, and I guess I'll do some writing on my varnish workshop, and I'll explain what varnish is if you don't know. And yeah, so I'm also happy to report that my home lab server is now expanded to 128 gigabytes of RAM. I did that this morning, put in the RAM chips, and yeah, for a few minutes I was very worried that I wouldn't see my Proxmox again. I couldn't reach it anymore, and but there wasn't any post beep either, so I didn't really know if the RAM was okay with the machine, because the Dell workstation that I'm using as my home lab server is known to reject specific or only accept specific RAM chips, and regardless if they are they should be ECC anyway, but apparently people had issues with different brands, and so I was a little bit concerned that the ones that I got, which are what brand did I get actually? Kingston. I wasn't really sure if the Kingston DIMMs would work, but I attached a monitor and saw that it was booting. Then there was a short message about ZFS not being found or something, which worried the heck out of me. But the Proxmox prompt came on, and 1 or 2 minutes later I could actually reach the web interface as well, and it's running nice. So my home lab is now operational on a much higher level, which also has a dark side, because now I'm actually running a Windows VM. I'm running Windows 11 on my home lab server now as well, because now there's enough RAM for that. And I might use it to, first and foremost, to have a Windows machine available when I need one. Sometimes I need to use the Affinity graphics applications, for example, and that's why I have a Windows VM here on my workstation, and now I have another Windows VM on my home lab server as well. Dragon Dust, welcome to the stack. Happy Tuesday. And grats on your newly renewed sub, which you can thank HMeter74 for. So what I'm going to use my Windows VM also for is to run software where, especially for hardware that isn't supported on Linux or isn't well supported on Linux, which for example includes the ATEM Mini video switcher that I'm using. That software is only available for Windows and Mac, and it's an application that you need. They don't have any web-based stuff. That's one reason why I still rely on Windows in very rare cases. And then I'll also try what happens if I attach my Stream Deck to this Windows VM, because the Elgato plugin store for the Stream Deck is of course huge by now, and I feel a little bit like I'm missing out in terms of functionality with regard to my Stream Deck. Even though I'm running the Deckmaster software here on my PC, which works nicely, things could be easier by simply using Windows for that. And most of the stuff the Stream Deck does is talking over the network. It talks to OBS via the network. It talks to Home Assistant over the network. So I might actually not have too many issues with running the Stream Deck from Windows. And if I have now a Windows VM that's running 24/7 anyway on my home lab server, let's give that a try. We'll see. I'll report back. Foxpit, welcome by the way. I didn't greet you there. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so I know Dust. I was wondering last night, if you have 128 gigs of RAM, but your processor bottlenecks, then this RAM would be useless. In some sense, I guess yes. If your CPU keeps bottlenecking, because something is taxing it beyond its means, then yeah, then the whole machine doesn't really do its job properly, and then it really doesn't really matter how many RAM you have built in. If your processor is pegged all the time, that's definitely a state your machine shouldn't be in. Yeah, I would definitely look what's doing that, because nowadays with a decent CPU, that shouldn't really be the case. I mean, from time to time, maybe, for example, if you have a some kind of a streaming software like Plex or so that is transcoding a video at the moment and uses CPU for that, yeah, at that point it'll keep the CPU cores busy, but only for a certain amount of time, and after that it should pretty much return to baseline. But if your baseline is 100% or near 100% all the time, that doesn't sound to me like a healthy state. Is there a specific reason why you ask? Or is it more of a theoretical question? And Doug is, of course, right. Oh, my language center in my brain doesn't work.
It's a Unix system.
Simply get an SMP system with more than one CPU, and then you're done. Yarmolenko, welcome to the stack. Thanks for the follow. Okay, so I guess we should get going. Here we are in my talks repository, where I write my talk scripts, including teleprompter crawls, for example, and my slides as well. Basically, this repository is a Jekyll instance, the static site generator that's written in Ruby. And my scripts and slides simply use different layouts. And there's the teleprompter layout, which I can show you in a second, and the slides, the reveal layout or the reveal MD layout when I'm writing Markdown. That creates slide decks. And how the slide deck looks like, you can see here on the right side. That is the talk, as you can see, content fresh and fast. And it's a reveal.js slide deck, so I can simply run it in the browser and go from slide to slide, and it works nicely. I'm sorry, I'll have to run for a minute. Someone's at the door and I'm the only one in the house. Just a second, I'll be right back. And I'm back. Sorry for that. Okay, I know. Oh, just a second, my door. It's... Door was open. Okay. Let's start from the top. Where was I? Yeah, I was talking about my slides here. So I've built my own theme lately, so it fits the whole Monospace Mentor branding. And it's really nice to be able to write slides in Markdown, because I don't think you can generate slides faster than that. And if they are mostly based on text anyway, then Markdown is great, and can still do everything you need in terms of presenting. Well, it does. Reveal.js, of course, doesn't have the more fancy effects that Keynote or PowerPoint have, with stuff flying in and things like that. But I'd rather use an animation software for that anyway. So I'm not really missing out. Now, there's also the opportunity to use a teleprompter. I do have a teleprompter here at my desk. It's actually combined with the camera I'm looking into right now. And so I can write my workshop scripts or talk scripts as a teleprompter script, and that's marked down as well. And the teleprompter layout actually turns that into a teleprompter crawl. As you can see, I can press the spacebar and it starts scrolling. I can press the up arrow to make it faster. And then I can simply read from the teleprompter in a more natural way, which for me, as someone who speaks English as their second language, makes things a lot easier and less error prone. So, that's what I'm working on right now, and as you can see, yeah, it would have to have a 3D effect then as well, so it actually scrolls into the horizon, but that'll make reading a lot more difficult. Oh, and iNode answered. I was running containers last night with LXC and noticed that by default LXC makes them single-threaded. And my workstation was using 100%, but on one core, which seemed odd. Does LXC do it single-threaded? I'm actually not sure. Or was it just that your container was configured as single-threaded? Let's see. Just a second. I don't have a different homepage here. What is it? 3306? No. Just give me just a second. $8006. Okay. So this is my home server here, and I do have a few containers running as well. Let's see, what resources do we have? Yeah, you can assign as many cores as you want. This is a very small container because all it does is run Borg as an interface to my NAS.
Unix system. I know this.
Ulysses, welcome. Thank you for the follow. It's really nice of you. So yeah, I mean, even the 2 cores here are probably overkill just to run the backup software. Maybe that's where you can fine-tune things a little bit, iNode. Okay, so let's go back to my script. I'll leave this on. What is this whole script all about? It's about Varnish, which is a caching proxy. A proxy basically sits between a web client and a web server, and it receives the requests from a server, from a client. I'm completely confusing things from the start. The proxy receives the request from the client, passes it on to the server, receives the server's response, and passes that back to the client. So it basically acts as a man in the middle. And of course, that only makes sense if the proxy itself also does something with these requests, something of benefit. And in the case of Varnish, it's caching content. So what Varnish does is it basically stores everything it can in RAM, and whenever another request comes in that requests the same content it has already cached in RAM, it'll immediately serve that cache object from RAM without even involving the backend web server. By that, Varnish can speed up the responsiveness of a website or web application by factors of 100, 500, or even 1,000, because it's so fast. Everything is RAM-based, so as long as your cache RAM is sufficiently sized, Varnish can make a huge difference. Of course, it requires that the web application actually serves cacheable content. So, for example, if the website or web application is more of an intranet style site where everyone is logged in with their individual account, they also need to get served individual content. And caching that content doesn't really make much sense. At least it's not as efficient as, for example, for a more public website that serves the same kind of content to thousands of visitors per day, where a single request to the web application and caching that for, say, 24 hours will make this content be able to be delivered really, really fast. And even in the case of more individual content, you can still do a lot of things that speed things up. For example, if you have a page for a logged in user, so the requests that come in come with a cookie that represents the user's session. Varnish by default would not cache anything because thanks to the cookie, everything looks like individual content. And usually or commonly, Varnish stores content related to the URL. But if the same URL serves different content to different users, you can't have that cached because that would actually expose content for one user to other users as well, as soon as they request the same URL. But you can do things like tell Varnish to serve individual HTML files. But if the content that gets requested is a JPEG, for example, and those JPEGs usually aren't individual content for each user, they are stored centrally somewhere, then you can say, okay, for requests that are for, say, a JPEG file or a PNG file, drop the cookie. Drop the cookie. That then makes the content cacheable, and when the image comes back from the web application, Varnish can actually cache that because it drops the cookie when the website response comes back. And without a cookie, images are perfectly cacheable, and that means that even for logged in users, they'll get all the asset files like images or CSS files and things like that served from Varnish. And that makes things so much faster because, of course, oftentimes it's not the HTML code that's individual for every user and contains their login name in the top right corner and things like that. That makes websites slow, but it's actually asset files like things like JPEGs and images, CSS files, maybe even videos that are the heavyweight that Varnish then can really speed up. But you need to configure it in a way that, for example, that it drops cookies and other stuff for asset files, and that's done via a actual programming language, the Varnish configuration language, which is based on C, which actually gets compiled by Varnish into machine code, and that is what makes Varnish so fucking fast. Porcutime, thanks for the follow. I really appreciate it. And I've been using Varnish for, I guess, about 13 years now, for the whole lifetime of my current business, which is managed hosting. I own a managed hosting company, and we have been relying on Varnish to speed up our customers' websites forever. And it's definitely a unique value proposition that our managed hosting is so fast, because over time we have optimized our Varnish configuration language specifically for the use cases of our customers. We can even do individual configurations for them, and that allows us to fine-tune performance really, really well for a single website. And so I guess it makes sense that I'm going to do a workshop on monospacementor.com about the very software that allows us to wow our customers so nicely. And that's why I'm writing this workshop script at the moment. And I guess that's enough preamble, and let's get going. If you have any questions about this topic or any other topic that comes to mind, pop into chat. Let's have a conversation. Let's make this interactive. I really don't want to monologue for 2 hours on end. So here's my script, and I have a bit of a rough outline here. I'm going to start with an introduction to Varnish itself. Then I'll talk about how proxies work in general. Then I'll talk about caching proxies in specific. Then we'll have to go into HTTP basics, because the way Varnish behaves is mostly controlled by the HTTP protocol and the HTTP headers. So we'll have to clarify how these work and which HTTP headers are important and relevant for our topic. And then we'll go into the more hands-on stuff like installing Varnish, about an introduction of the VCL, and then a big part of the workshop will also be practical use cases for things like force caching asset files, splitting traffic between two web applications, load balancing, things like that. I guess I could actually write these down as outline items already. Enotic D, hello! Happy Tuesday. How's life? How would Varnish work with Nginx? That's a good question. Let me actually illustrate that. Just a second. I should prepare better. Let's plug in a few cables here. Okay, here we go. Someone must have asked that question before. Why is there no picture? Just a second. Here we go. Yeah, I was just about to draw this picture. And then I realized there's already a picture. And I can simply erase Apache here and replace it with Nginx. So how this works is Varnish as a proxy is running in front of Nginx, which serves the web content. And since Varnish is in this case run by the web server operator, so it is basically part of the web application setup. So let's box that in. So that is basically web operations territory. That's called a reverse proxy. There are also proxy servers that run on the client side, for example, in the data center of a big company, where before requests go out to the internet, they have to pass a proxy server that might do some filtering or even caching. So if the proxy is located on the client side, we call it a forward proxy, and if it runs on the server side, we'll call it a reverse proxy. And as you can see, requests that come in from the internet go to Varnish. Varnish passes them on to the web server. The web server responds like it responds to every other client. For the web server, Varnish is just a client, and so it responds with the requested content. Varnish does pass that back to the original client, but if possible, it does cache this content as well, as soon as it fits its caching rules, and there is enough space in its object cache, then it'll be stored. And if requests come in for the same content again, Varnish can then serve those right away without even having to again contact the website, which we call the backend. That's basically Varnish's backend. Does that answer your question, or did it go into a different direction? Oh, brilliant. So, yeah, keep asking. I'm more than happy to talk about this, obviously, because I'm even going to do workshops where I'm going to talk about 3 hours about the same topic. So, as I just mentioned, for example, Varnish is the client of, from the point of view of the web server here. Need to find my buttons.
It's a Unix system.
Oh, we. Welcome to the stack. Yeah, from the perspective of the web server, Varnish is the client. And that means at the end of the day, Nginx will always only have had one client. It'll only talk to Varnish and to no one else. And for example, if you then take a look at your logs, you'll find that there is one single IP address in those logs. And that will definitely screw over your analytics, because yeah, that will tell your web server or your analytics, we had 1 million requests and they all came from the same IP address. That's a very valuable customer. No, it's not. It's just our reverse proxy. So one of the important HTTP headers that I'm going to talk about here is the X forwarded for header, which Varnish actually adds to each incoming request before it passes them on to the backend. And in X forwarded for, you'll find the IP address of the original client. And that way you can actually store this information, the IP address that's stored in the X forwarded 4 header, and use that for analytics. And of course, this header will then hopefully vary with basically every other request. And so the original IP addresses don't get lost. They are preserved in this X forwarded 4 header. And all you have to do is basically disregard the actual IP address the request is coming from, because that's going to be always varnish. And instead you need to take a look into the HTTP request and get the value from the X forwarded 4 header. LV asks if I know Kubernetes. Yes, I do. And since I upgraded my home lab server to 128 gigabytes of RAM this morning, I'll finally be able to also spin up a local Kubernetes cluster on my home lab server and do a few experiments, because we are going to use Kubernetes in our managed hosting infrastructure this year. Are you going to make this some kind of a question and answer game? Yes, I do know Node.js too. It'll also be interesting to learn what you mean by no. Do I use it? I do not use it very often. It's basically part of a few websites that I deploy, but I don't really care much about Node.js. How much vCPU per pod for Node.js instance for scaling? Well, that depends on the actual application that you're running behind it. Also depends on the sizing of your pods, for example. Oh, you're right. It's actually single-threaded, yeah. It manages its own concurrency. You tricked me! Timeout. 5 minutes. But that's a good interview question, though. Yeah, I'm not much of a front-end coder, I'll be honest. These are things that I don't have to deal with often. Not even in terms of hosting, because our hosting platform is specialized on running WordPress and Drupal, which both are PHP-based applications. But the Node.js topic will become more relevant for us this year, because a few of our customers actually are adding Node.js to their whole setup. For example, using Drupal as their actual content management software in terms of, with emphasis on management, and using Node.js-based front-end applications to serve the actual content. So that will definitely be something that we'll have to get deeper on in the coming months. And so I do appreciate the input here. And yeah, you have a point there as well. Well, it depends on your point of view, if it's back end or front end. For me, it's part of the customer-facing application, and that way I saw it as a back end, as a front end relevant or a front end oriented technology. But of course, you could also divide the JavaScript that is the actual application and the Node.js that runs in the back end as well. So Alvi, what is it that you do? What are you doing at the moment? But more generally, what are you working? So, now the question is, how do I get started here? Trying to learn Kubernetes? It's a huge topic, isn't it? It took me quite a while to wrap my head around it until I realized, well, it is how a bunch of PhDs at Google would build an orchestration platform that can cater to all kinds of use cases. And so it is really, really generic, with lots of YAML and different building blocks. And if you have a very specific use case, you need to actually realize, okay, you need to know which building blocks you have available and which ones you'll need to get your actual payload deployed. And so when I realized that, and that I don't have to actually grasp everything, but I can actually pick and choose between what I actually need. For example, well, I need an ingress and I need a deployment for my website. And well, in the most simple case, that's it. No secrets, nothing. And then I'm done. Then I can focus on these things and actually go deeper on those, learn about them and get my actual project done without having to think about operators and config maps and all that stuff. So yeah, don't be daunted by how vast this whole Kubernetes ecosystem is. You can still focus on a few pieces and then go from there. Actually, I can't tell you what the best ingress is. I'm pretty much used to the standard Nginx ingress, and so far it has served me well. So I can't recommend anything else from experience, and I definitely, for example, have no experience in running stuff like microservices where you would need more sophisticated solutions. So far, Kubernetes is mostly running our static websites, our own company websites, and that basically means deploy 2 pods with the same image, put an ingress in front of that, and that's basically it. Running our hosting platform with PHP, databases, central storage and stuff like that will be a lot more complex, and yeah, that will take a lot of time for us to implement. And I'm looking forward to all the stuff that I'm going to learn on the way. So I was talking about practical use cases and I wanted to write down a few. Load balancing, splitting traffic between websites, forced caching of asset files, stuff like that. So that's now written down and I can actually let my brain's garbage collection kick in, and in the meantime we'll I guess write about HTTP headers. So I did have a simple request and response round trip documented here. So that's the first thing the reader sees of HTTP requests. Well, Cosmic, if you get into my age, you'll see it in action. Welcome to the stack.
It's a Unix system.
Foxbit, thank you.
It's a Unix system. I know.
Very kind of you all to follow the channel. Thank you.
It's a Unix system. I know.
Lisa, welcome to the stack. What's going on?
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Ivan the Raging Python, which is a great name, by the way. Welcome. Okay, so, and by the way, Malvi, you asked about DDoS protection. I don't think DDoS protection on the Kubernetes level will do a lot, because once your traffic has reached your cluster and has to be processed on those more high levels, it's basically too late. DDoS protection should actually happen before it hits your cluster, and also on lower levels, like the network level of your data center or something like that. Otherwise, I mean, talking about the performance of Varnish, we actually had a DDoS attack last year that I still remember, where an anti-fascist website we are hosting was DDoSed by some kind of a Russian botnet, and it was basically Varnish that handled all the traffic nicely. Yeah, definitely. Moving the DDoS problem to a CDN that is in front of your whole infrastructure, which includes Cloudflare, I guess, because yeah, Cloudflare is a CDN, is definitely also a good choice. But in our case, we didn't have a CDN in front, because CDNs can be quite expensive too, and Varnish is part of our hosting plans. So we were able to easily serve thousands of requests per minute simply by, what did we do? I think we simply modified the incoming HTTP headers, so everything, the outgoing HTTP headers, to make everything cacheable, because at that point we didn't really, or the customer didn't really care about stale content. They simply wanted to stay online. And by enabling every content to be cached by Varnish, we were serving thousands of requests per minute over hours, and the website basically, I think, never went down. I don't remember specifically, but I think we kept the website up over 24 hours of on and off DDoS attacks. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we are pretty proud about that. No, CDN is not only for static. DDoS protection is not always part of a CDN package. So your question is valid, because there are CDNs that don't include DDoS protection. PotatoOps, which is also a brilliant name, I love it. Welcome to the stack. But in the case of Cloudflare, DDoS protection is or can be part of your CDN plan, and that will include much more than simply serving asset files from their local caches. That includes traffic inspection and countermeasures on the network level and things like that. So Cloudflare's offering probably goes beyond what many CDNs offer. I'm not saying that it's the only CDN that does that, but not every CDN does include DDoS protection. And if all your HTTP requests go through a CDN before they even reach you, Cloudflare Cloudflare, for example, can actually protect your Kubernetes cluster because your Kubernetes cluster will never see the malicious traffic. Now I'm getting more challenged by catching up with chat. Spartan said, trying to deal with that locally is an arms race. Yeah, it is. And you don't want to keep on, especially when you're dealing with purely packet cannon volumetric stuff. Even the best solutions will tip over in the absence of sufficient transit throughput. That's one point. Another point is if you pay for traffic, then you'll probably also be hosed if you can stem the incoming traffic with a trick like ours. Because in the end, it's still going to be you who pays for the outgoing traffic, and so getting that stuff dealt with much earlier than on your side of the fence definitely does make sense. And as Spartan says, it's basically an arms race where they just get bigger cannons, and so you need get thicker walls, and yeah, it's not something that you should really spend your time on, because time is money. I know it says the whole caching thing has the downside that difficult customers are going to ask why their changes have not appeared yet, or why iNode's changes have not appeared. I guess he means the customer's content. Well, that's exactly why I'm going to talk about the whole HTTP level here in my workshop, because basically Varnish will simply adhere to HTTP. If you follow what it finds in the HTTP headers, and for example, if the HTTP header says this is new content, then Varnish will replace its cache content. And if the website says this content must not be cached at all because I always want to serve fresh traffic, fresh content, then Varnish will leave its fingers off. That of course means that all the requests then go back to your web application and actually trigger the rendering of fresh content. If that's what you want, you'll have to make sure that your web application itself is able to answer more quickly. So caching will always be a trade-off between freshness of content and speed of content delivery. And yeah, what we do on almost a daily basis is basically work out with each of our customers where this middle ground, this Goldilocks zone is. Scott Carey, welcome. Thanks for following. Curie91, same for you. Happy to have you here. Happy Tuesday to you all. So, let me see. Spartan said, there's a larger discussion here on what it means for the decentralized internet. This situation we find ourselves in. AWS will absolutely protect their own resources. Yep. So you get DDoS protection for free essentially, but it also means the compute available to the world is rapidly becoming consolidated in a few large tech players. Yeah, that's a much larger issue. Those hyperscalers basically dividing the market between themselves. And it's getting harder to run infrastructure yourself. Yep, that's definitely the case. It's something that people started realizing in terms of email, or with regard to email in the last 10 years, that it's basically not possible anymore to run your own email server efficiently, because the effort alone to not only fight incoming spam, but also to get your own emails delivered without them getting forwarded right into the spam bucket is basically a full-time job. And so, for example, from our hosting infrastructure, we don't actually really serve email. While our customers can send emails using the standard SMTP ways, we tell our customers delivery is not guaranteed. If you really want to send emails seriously from your web applications, you should use the managed email providers like SendGrid and other companies that make it their day job to deliver email and make sure it gets to its destination. Running an email service as an internet service provider ourselves is practically not worth our time because, we would have to have full-time staff on that, and no one will actually pay what that is going to cost. Spartan is right in terms of banning IP addresses. That's always hard. Banning single addresses doesn't really do anything because of the D in DDoS. And banning whole subnets or prefixes that basically then pours out the baby with the bathwater. So yeah, that's also a bit of a senseless thing. Scott, so you basically balanced the scales, I guess. I moved from Germany to Ireland, based in Bray now for 10 years, and you moved to Germany yourself. So I guess we've evened the balance again. Yeah, I can tell, Spartan, that you have been in the trade. And Potatops is from Dublin. How are you doing? Dundrum, yep. Know it, of course. I have a 15-year-old daughter. What do I like more, Ireland or Germany? Oh, you're opening a can of worms. And I'm more than happy to talk about it because actually I find it really, really hard to get into writing today. Maybe trying to write on a live stream is not going to work for me, but we'll see. But first, let's answer your question. So it was quite a funny story how we got to Ireland. I visited Ireland for the first time in 1998 as a German tourist with my brother, and we spent 2 weeks over here and had a great time, met so many friendly people, and we really, really enjoyed our stay. It was much, much better than we anticipated, and that's mostly because of the people here. I think 3 years later, I then did it a second time with my brother and then my newfound girlfriend. And we also had a great time. The same girlfriend then later did an Erasmus year in Dublin in 2006. Over that year, I went to Dublin a few times and also enjoyed staying in the city, visiting pubs and all that kind of stuff. And we basically fell in love with the country and its people. And so from then on, I think we started dreaming of maybe moving to Ireland. And in 2011, we said, things are not too great financially at the moment, so let's postpone it a little bit more. In 2012, we actually went over to Ireland again just to check if the whole thing was just a romantic notion and not really reliable ground to build on. But to be honest, I stepped out of Dublin Airport and stepped on a bus and felt at home. That's the feeling. That's how I would describe that feeling. And I do actually feel more at home here in Ireland than I ever did in Germany, which might be because my mentality isn't really the typical, even stereotypical mentality of a German. In terms of, say, risk-taking as an entrepreneur, or I'm not really good with rules that I don't understand, stuff like that. Is, I think, what fascinated me with Ireland. And that was in 2012 when we said, okay, we're going to do that. And so in 2013, we basically sold the stuff we had. We only had a rental flat, so we ended that lease and went over with our 5-year-old daughter and 6-month-old son. Started house hunting and actually found a house on day one. And for the Irish of you, that must sound like complete bullshit. But yes, in 2013, you were able to find a house on day one for rent. And we've been living in that house for 10 years now, and hopefully our landlord will keep renewing that lease because of how the housing market here in Ireland is at the moment. And to be honest, I don't regret it. I really enjoy living here. I enjoy speaking English. I enjoy how still friendly the people are. I mean, I have the advantage, the actual privilege, that while being an immigrant, I'm a white German male immigrant. I'm actually getting a little bit worried at the moment about how anti-immigrant movements are flaring up all over Ireland. That's something that I definitely view with concern, and we'll have to do something about that. And actually, to see the demonstrations in Germany at the last weekend was really, really encouraging. And we might be able, we maybe should organize something like that over here as well. But other than that, I really enjoy living here, being able to pay with card everywhere, to have all the amenities of Dublin without having to live in the city. I live about 20 kilometers south of Dublin, with the Wicklow Mountains right in front of my doorstep. So that's definitely something I do enjoy. I don't think I would move back to Germany if I can avoid it. German rent might be insane. I only realized a bit later that the German housing market isn't much better than the Irish one. First, I thought the Irish housing market alone was fucked, but I guess that's now happening all over Europe. Shop on Sundays is definitely also a real advantage. Being able to get something for Sunday dinner quickly from the Lidl around the corner is definitely something that is an advantage. Lack of sunshine probably depends on whereabouts in Germany you are, and I don't think that Ireland can boast a surplus of sunshine. Actually, that might have, or probably was the reason that I felt so tired day by day end of last year. I really was concerned if something was wrong with me health-wise, or if I was getting some kind of a depression or something like that, because even if I had a good night's sleep, I felt tired and couldn't really focus and things like that. And then I remembered that it's a good idea to take vitamin D during the fall and winter months. Started doing that, and the tiredness was gone. And talking about lack of sunshine. That's also the reason why I now do my 5-kilometer walks in the morning, because that's when I still can catch some rays. Oh, Duke, don't talk to me about saunas, because if there's one thing, if there's one thing that the Irish can't do, then it's sauna. They have no idea how sauna works. It's a completely foreign concept to them. Yeah, shops closing on Sunday is something, is part of what amazed me early on when I came over here, because the Christian and especially the Catholic Church seem to have much more influence on the day-to-day life in Germany than it did in Ireland, which is strange, because Ireland had been such a Catholic country, but with the whole church tax and Sundays being closed and stuff like that, Germany still has more remnants of a lack of separation between church and state than Ireland ever had. I guess church religions had different influences in Ireland, as you can see from what was going on with the mother and daughter homes and things like that, and the laundries. But yeah. Will I still do some more writing? I hope so. Because, yeah, I've already scheduled this workshop for end of February, and until then I'll not only have to get the whole course material done, but also the whole marketing stuff around it and all these things. I'm actually not sure, Scott, because I'm not sure if there is even a way to leave your church here in Ireland. Because if you declare leaving your church in Germany, that's basically just for tax reasons. The church actually, especially the Catholic Church, will still regard you as a member, because you can't get unbaptized. If you have been baptized, then you are part of the religion, at least from the point of view of the church. So leaving the church is basically just for tax reasons, and still, since there aren't any tax reasons over here in Ireland, I'm not sure if there is even a formal way to declare you leaving the church. They might actually ask you, what do you mean? We can't take back your baptism. That's that would require God rejecting you. It's not because of how the sacrament of baptism works. And if you are asking yourself why I'm so familiar with sacraments and things like that, there was a time when I wanted to become a Catholic priest. Not going to do that now. I'm definitely fallen out of the faith. Indrak, well, not sure if that's going to work. And over on YouTube, Prince Kosa wrote, learned web dev, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, MySQL, not learned any framework. Can I get a job in that state? If not, what can I do? That's actually a valid question. I think by having... so let's switch back to talk. I think by having a foundation in basic web technology, all the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, these things, that's actually a good foundation. And you might not get a job where knowledge about, say, front-end frameworks is required, so frameworks like React or something like that. But if you can find, for example, a junior level job where specific knowledge about frameworks is not a requirement, then that's definitely something that might happen. On the other hand, I guess learning a framework from where you are is basically the next step. Since you are mentioning PHP and MySQL, if you want to learn a framework, I would recommend learning Laravel, which is one of, if not the most popular web framework for PHP-based applications, and it's great. It's very capable, and so start building applications using Laravel. Get yourself in there and get an understanding of how Laravel interfaces with, say, a MySQL database. What kind of abstraction layers it adds to the whole application with the object relational mapping and things like that. And within a few weeks, you'll have an understanding about what those frameworks do, simply from the example of Laravel. And at that point, if you have basic familiarity with one framework, it's probably quite easy to apply the same learnings to different frameworks, even different frameworks for different languages. So you're just a few steps away from actually being familiar with frameworks, and that step is basically just get into it, install Laravel, get the Laravel documentation, and start building applications using it. And that will, with every week you're spending learning these things, your employability will go up. Scott says, still got a job as an AWS DevOps engineer without touching AWS before. Well, you certainly had other things that you could show. And Rare7235, hello to you too. Exegete, welcome to the stack. Good day to you. How are you? I don't think we've talked a lot recently. I'm curious how you're doing. Exactly, Duke. There's another user level beyond root that you would have to have for that. You could say it's actually the root user that needs to execute this. Hope you're feeling better. That's sad to hear that you've been sick. And rebellions of your 4-year-old. Can relate. Been there. Suffered that. Other than that, I'm pretty good. The now 11-year-old is celebrating his birthday today. And later I'm going to watch the Hey Creator online conference as a creator now myself. Well, I've been a creator in terms of live streaming for years now, but now that I have monospacementor.com, I'll have to create a lot of stuff, including my workshop script. But it doesn't look like I'll make much progress on that today. And so the Hey Creator online workshop, which is free, by the way. So if you're looking for Hey Creator conference, I guess you'll find it, and you can still apply to join. It's quite interesting. Varying talks and topics. Not all are relevant for myself, but definitely interesting. And they'll only start from 12 p.m. Eastern time, which is 5 p.m. my time. So yeah, that's something that we'll all be able to watch later if you are so inclined. I'll pass it on, Exegete. Thank you. I love the play on words there. And Duke said, just let ChatGPT write the script. Well, I actually tried to do that for a different course and quickly realized that's not the way how you create content. What I'm going to do is use ChatGPT for things like giving me an outline. Like, for example, I could actually ask ChatGPT if there are more practical use cases, for example, other than the 3 that I've already listed here, that I could include here, but I'll definitely make sure that the content that I'm going to publish is actually written by me and not just copied through an autocorrect mechanism called ChatGPT. That's something that I've decided for myself. I'm not going to actually publish text that has been generated. I might get help with getting outlines and things like that. But other than that, yeah, that's a no-go. Why do you want just asking? Thank you for stopping by. It's always great to have you. Love it, and hope to talk soon. And best of success with the video, Exegete. All right, so here we talked about headers, a few examples, and now it makes sense to talk about important HTTP headers. Let me see. Nope, wrong. Browser window. How much of the whole HTTP protocol is actually the headers? Because I guess other than the first line in a request and the payloads that come back in the response bodies, headers basically make up the whole protocol, don't they? Ah yes, user agent is actually a good term that I should use. So far I simply use the more generic client. User agent does make sense because there, of course, is also a user agent header that identifies it. Each individual request. Here we have the whole proxy situation. And that static image is actually a good illustration, I just realized, seeing the request going basically through We could even use dotted lines to indicate that that is basically more or less the same request, and then also more or less the same response. It's nice that I was able to animate that, but for, say, a handout or something like that, having this static illustration does make sense too. So I'll do something like that later. That's also a good list of stuff that we can use here. Where are we talking about proxies? That's up here, isn't it? Backend. Maybe we'll also introduce the term user agent. Other functions formed by proxies are the most common functions performed by proxies are caching, and we'll get to that more in depth, filtering, load balancing, which is also part of what Varnish does, authentication. I guess that's more related to forward proxies, and logging. And if we put caching at the end, we can segue over to caching proxies right away from there. Of course, I'll have to elaborate on these things, but it's good to have that in there. Basic aspects of HTTP. Simple, extensible. HTTP headers make this protocol easy to extend and experiment with. How many protocol versions were there before 1.0? I mean, I can imagine HTTP initially just consisting of a GET request and then a response that would return a status value and the actual payload, and headers being added later. But I'm not sure. I'm actually not familiar with the early intricacies of the HTTP protocol. Maybe I should research that. HTTP stateless. Even though this workshop is about Varnish in particular, I really like these, at least these high-level points. Later versions of HTTP optimize the connection side of things, especially HTTP 2. So there is more to HTTP than just the headers. Couscous come over. Welcome to the stack. Thank you for following. That's not something that I'm going to go into a lot. Excuse me. Pipelining, persistent connections. And then HTTP2 with multiplexing. Yep. So yes, headers do make up a huge part of the protocol. Caching, relaxing the origin constraint. What does that mean? To prevent snooping, web browsers enforce strict separation between websites from the same origin. Headers can relax this. Okay, so like cores and stuff like that, yeah. Authentication. SRE means Site Reliability Engineer or Service Reliability Engineer, which is basically the modern version of System Administrator. It's a bit of a differentiation, and as job titles go, of course, there's also always a bit of a bullshit factor in there. But it does mean it's basically system administrators who actually can code. Because, with, say, configuration management and things like that, you need to be able to do algorithmic work as well instead of just entering commands into a command line. And that's basically encapsulated by the Site Reliability Engineering title. I think I stripped out the date. Is there a date header usually? Is there one in my slides? Or did I strip that out? No, there is a date header actually. Great. Okay. Yeah, I should definitely refer to that. So just as an example of SRE, what I'm doing in my daily work is I'm the CTO of a managed hosting platform. We are specialized in high-performance hosting, and that's why I'm working on a workshop about the Varnish caching proxy at the moment. And we are running an infrastructure with about 400 to 500 Linux servers with a team of 2. Which only is possible if everything is highly automated. And that, of course, requires coding and, to a larger extent, software engineering, because that code needs to also have a huge level of maintainability. So we are... You could call us infrastructure engineers or something like that, and that's basically the common term nowadays is site reliability engineers, because that's what operations basically is about nowadays. It basically always was, but ops people still are judged by how reliable the infrastructure they are operating is, and adding the reliability aspect to the job title itself does make sense. But in the end, it boils down to ops person, because IT operations, especially web operations, is about reliability. No way around it. I know that's exactly how I got these headers. Oh, wait, wrong window. I simply did a curl on monospacementor.com and took the results. Stripped out a few headers that aren't really relevant at this point in the workshop. So I'll talk about, for example, the date header and the server header also. And then, of course, we'll go into something like the cache control header, because that's going to be central to the whole topic. The response actually was a little bit bigger in terms of headers, and there was, of course, the actual HTML as well, which I've stripped out. But yeah, that's exactly how I got these headers. These are real headers from the time when I did the request. Yeah, all you have to do is use curl with the -i option, and it'll show you the headers along with the payload that was returned. Well, we all can count ourselves lucky then, Duke. Good thing I upped the channel points required for that specific reward. Yes, there are more RFCs related to HTTP by now, but and I wouldn't read the whole RFC anyway, but yeah, definitely would be happy to do so. Keep watching, and you'll get that reward eventually. Note to self: keep stream short today. Well, I guess that ship has sailed. Okay. Now, where to? Yeah, let's read on.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Onyx, welcome. Thank you for following. That's very kind of you. HTTP messages. Method path protocol version. Yep, that's something that I already mentioned up here. Document path in its argument. Yeah, so we've covered that already. I wrote request type, request method should be more specific. Other request methods are noun verbs, or we can simply say there are request methods in the form of verbs, such as get and get, post and put, and in the form of nouns, for example, options. Did I mention the status message in... a status code? For a human reader, there is also the status, the related status message. And I guess that status message... Well, there wasn't a status message, actually. I didn't leave off the OK. It might be the case that HTTP/2 doesn't actually have that status message anymore. So let's not mention it, otherwise I'll confuse people unnecessarily. Yeah, so that's great. My first goal of confirming that HTTP is, well, about A, connection management, and B, HTTP headers was correct. So that's good, because I couldn't think of anything else. So that's something that I can actually write at the beginning. Here at the HTTP is simple. Line, I guess I'll make that comments here. Ooh, word is going under outside again. Storm and rain. We just survived Storm Isha, and now there's another storm right behind it. Brace yourselves, you folks on the continent. Exactly, I know, that's what I thought too. That's probably the difference between the examples here using HTTP 1.1 and my own HTTP requests using HTTP 2. Fifth Drew, welcome to the stack. Good to have you. So, maybe we'll find, well, what I can do is definitely research headers that are related to caching, or let's simply write down a few keywords here that are relevant for caching. So yeah, definitely the cache control header. Cache control. So we definitely need the last modified header. Then there's the age header. I would tell you how much I appreciate you following the channel, but 404 not found. Then there's max age.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Coltrane, thanks for joining the stack. Yeah, then we'll have to elaborate on the whole age thing. Expires header, that's also important. There's lots to talk about. It's a good thing that I scheduled 3 hours for this workshop, because we'll definitely spend about an hour on background and theoretical knowledge. Really, you posted an expires header with 22 22 in 2022 and you didn't do it on the 22nd of February, you failed. The vary header is very important for caching, especially for cache storage. Coltrane asking the deep questions. What do you enjoy about programming? What was your reason to pursue this as a career? Taking a big breath here. Programming is what got me into computers in the first place. I've always been a nerd, I guess. At about age 9, I got a chemistry set and was fascinated by chemistry and started doing experiments and all kinds of stuff. And that's also when I discovered libraries. And so I read a lot about these things. And so I basically, at age 10 or 11, I had basic chemistry knowledge that usually you get as a 7th grader or something like that. Then I got into electronics, started building little kits with blinking LEDs and stuff like that. I was always dreaming of building my own surveillance electronics, and I got actual books describing those, but I never I never got the electrical engineering background that I would have needed to put together antennas and microphones and stuff like that to actually build bugs or something like that. But still, it was fun. And then I discovered computers. In the early 80s, they slowly became available back in Germany where I lived. And I started reading about computers because I still couldn't afford any. My pocket money was far too little. And so at one point I started reading about computers, got all kinds of books, and started dealing with that on a theoretical level and maybe even writing code on paper without being able to execute it. At one time, I discovered a Sinclair magazine at the local newsagents, and it was really, really expensive. It was about 3 weeks worth of pocket money or something like that, and I didn't have that available. So I stole the magazine because I really, really wanted it. And of course, I got caught, and that was really, really embarrassing. And I started trying to convince my parents about getting me a computer because it does amazing stuff. You can actually write a program and then you input your name and then the computer says, hello, your name. And I'm not sure how much that convinced my parents, but they were willing to cover half of the cost of a VIC-20, a Commodore VIC-20. And so I got that for my 14th birthday. And when I opened the manual, it started introducing me to programming because programming in BASIC was what the VIC-20 was all about. You could actually load ready-made programs, of course, but in terms of actually actively using that machine, that was about programming BASIC, a Microsoft variant of that. And so I was fascinated by programming, and then of course I went through the usual stages, got myself bigger and bigger computers over time, and building bigger and bigger applications as well. At one point I developed a payroll accounting software for my mother to simplify her work, and eventually I got into freelancing as a coder, and now I've been doing the whole thing for about 40 years. It No, it won't be 40 years next year, but soon. Studied computer science, the stereotypical career of a programmer or IT person. And I still find it fascinating because programming is such an interesting mind challenge. Being able to come up with an algorithm and then finding an elegant way to tell the machine about it. And elegant in that regard nowadays also includes maintainability, because it's not just me who writes this code or has to maintain it, it's my whole team, maybe even other people if we're talking about open sourcing stuff. And so yeah, I think there are two things that fascinate and challenge me the most, and that's, on one hand, coming up with an algorithm and making that understandable to the machine in a way that humans can understand too, and understanding how machines work and teaching people in an understandable way how these things work. These are the two things that have been driving me for decades now. And that's why not only I'm running a hosting company nowadays, because that's about running a lot of computers and telling them to do stuff in a way that in the end benefits both our customers and our company, and running monospacementor.com that I just launched last year, where I'm working on courses and workshops and mentorships to teach other people. So that's something that really nourishes my soul. That was a long-winded answer, but I hope it told you what you wanted to know. Coltrane. The Lomon is back. Welcome to the stack. Craigopotamus, which is also a great name. We must be of the same era. Yeah, basically describe my path. Yep. There are a few by now grey beard or grey hair people who basically all had the same kind of career, or path into programming or system administration, things like that, into IT in general. And I still love what I'm doing, which is definitely a blessing. And I actually get paid for something that I really love doing. So, Anshul, thank you for following. Let me try to get back to a few more keystrokes here. We stopped at the vary header. The if modified since header is also interesting. Yep. That's capital. That's my dad, but he's not calling for me as usual. Once they become grandparents, their direct offspring isn't interesting anymore. It's instead the little guy that got 11 years old today. Just a second, maybe I can get rid of that, at least up here. The Luminos, living the dream, being paid about something you love. Yep. I mean, it's a cliche, but the proverb, find work that you love, or do something that you love and you will never work a day in your life, is not untrue, I think. About the CS degree, is it a must? No, it's not. I know so many people who had a completely different career path, studied biology, maybe even had a PhD in it, and then switched careers and became programmers or system administrators, you don't really need a CS degree. I think as every college degree, it helps because more of the that it teaches you learning, for example, and you'll need that for your whole life. But the CS degree isn't really necessary. Of course, it will help in specific cases where you can actually benefit from having the theoretical background. But no, I wouldn't say it's required. Sniper Elite, welcome to the stack. Exit says, I won the lotto, I'd probably live stream coding every day. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually approaching that point without even having won the lotto, because it's so much fun. Just graduated and have no job yet, but congrats to your CS degree. I almost didn't get mine. Because I did so much stuff on the side, or more likely I did the studying on the side. And I'm pretty sure, even though I didn't like him, I need to be grateful to my mathematics professor for actually giving me a passing, barely passing grade in my last exam, because that exam basically determined if I graduated or not. And I'm not sure if my actual points in that exam were sufficient or if it was simply a pity pass. I never got to ask him that, but I'll be grateful nonetheless for the rest of my life. Yeah, and I didn't mean to pass over your comment, Sniper Elite. I know it's tough at the moment. The job market isn't too great. On the other hand, with your college degree, you definitely have something to show for, and I hope that you'll find something soon. The Laman asks, I was thinking on taking an online paid degree in applied AI from the International University while working. I don't think it's a waste of time in terms of getting a lucrative job, because AI is all the rage right now. And you might as well ride that wave as long as it exists. So if you will be able to land a job in AI with that degree, more power to you. Not really sure if it's going to be valuable in the long run, speaking about decades from here, but hey, if it pays the bills. I just don't see myself, and that's really, really subjective, myself getting excited about over AI. At least not the way it's done at the moment. It's just the hype that basically spoils it for me. I mean, maybe being a scientist working on that stuff is really exciting. I have no idea. And I actually don't know how these LLMs work internally and what work those data scientists and computer scientists do there. And that might be maybe a major part of the reason why I can't share their excitement. But yeah. So that's why I have more of a cynical point of view on this, such as if it pays the bills. And Duke, the apprenticeship stuff is highly valuable, at least in my eyes. Most of the people I ever employed were apprentices before. So they did the apprenticeship into IT. And the way they actually came with hands-on experience out of the gate was always something that made them very appealing to get them into my teams. More than people with college degrees, actually. Because especially with master's degrees from uni, they basically left uni without having any hands-on experience. People from universities of applied science, like myself, actually had some hands-on experience, and apprentices, of course, even more. They didn't do the low-level stuff like deep mathematics and stuff like that, but that was never relevant for the jobs that I had to hire for anyway. So I really appreciate people who did IT apprenticeships. Fudersnabel, hello! Long time no see! Thank you for joining the chat. How are you, mate? Always two there are. The 5th CS Master and the 5th CS Apprentice. I think I know what you mean, Itzap. Because, studying, even if you do it right, and not like I did, alone doesn't do it. Except if you want to stay in academia, I guess. But, yeah, some people don't have any practical sense. And I often experience that myself, because when we did some kind of group projects and stuff like that, it was always me who did the heavy lifting, and everyone else got to write my coattails, and I wasn't unhappy about that. It made sure that the end result was to my expectations, but I wonder myself how people who only succeed in the actual learning and studying, but not in the practical application, will ever get a job. That's definitely something I share. Oh, new retro demo. Feel free to post it to Discord. And everyone, if you would like to join our nice little community, feel free to join us there. And in terms of Fudersnabel's demos and shader animations, definitely take a look at the Show and Tell channel. I'm running out of hydration material. Oh, there was some lukewarm coffee left. That will get me over the line, because I'll have to finish at 5 at the latest, so... Very bad Lua code, still, if it works. I've sold many a bad code, at least from today's point of view. Successfully. Oh, I didn't realize that the bot just had posted about Discord. Sorry about that. Okay, we have reached if modified students. Anything else? Oh yeah, that page is really, really long. Then there's the e-tag. E-tag. And if non-match? I'll be honest, I think that's new to me, if non-match. If that response is stale, the client takes the value of the e-tag response header for the cached response and puts it into the if non-match request header to ask the server if the resource has been modified. Huh? Okay, I'll have to read that later to get the whole picture. Force validation. Yeah, that happens with the cache control header, which we've already listed there, so yeah. Yeah, I guess I'll have to basically rewrite this page for my workshop. I don't remember seeing the cache control private header much. Does that actually get used? Because that's basically the explicit way to make content uncacheable, because it's individually generated for a user. I've mostly seen implicit stuff like if a cookie is present or something like that, then it's private content. But I might have overlooked the cache control private as well. It doesn't look too familiar though. For this now, I prefer to think that they might have a certain amount of time they have available and might just get stuck in life responsibilities. Yeah, that's always the case. The Loman asks, I have the option to get a CS degree or an applied AI degree. Already have a master's in teaching. Oh, I envy you for that knowledge. Even though I've evolved to being, I hope, a good teacher simply by practicing. I lack all the theoretical backing, and I am sure that I'm missing that for many occasions. So with the knowledge that you have so far, what would you go for? Well, a CS degree is much more general, isn't it? I would probably go for the CS degree, especially because it's more general. And, well, cue the usual T-shaped engineer rant from my side. If you're not familiar with that, I'll keep it short. My recommendation is mostly that you have a broad spectrum of things that you can actually cover, a broad spectrum of topics, but every one of them pretty shallow. And then you have one or a group of topics where you can really go deep and have deeper expertise and experience. That's what I call T-shaped. And so a CS degree will get you that horizontal bar, and then it's up to you where you want to go deep and develop that vertical bar. Oh, dude, that must have been a roller coaster ride with the whole mental health stuff. But good thing you actually were able to rein that in, I guess, with getting medication stuff and getting properly diagnosed, which is not something that everyone can say. TedB19, welcome to the stack. Thank you for your follow. I think my daughter's ringing the doorbell and my son is not opening. Let's see if she rings another time, then I'll have to run. Yeah, she's still knocking. I'll be right back. Actually, it wasn't my daughter. It was a delivery guy with a bag that smelled a lot like McDonald's, and now I'm hungry. Alas, it wasn't for me. Different address. Let me catch up with chat. Fudasanaba wrote, I had a lot of fun doing my CS degree. Today, I actually regret not putting in more effort and time into my CS degree because of the, not only because of the learning, but also of the interactions with my colleagues. And I really can't say that I made a lot of friends during that time. Simply because of not really spending time at uni and just popping in for the exams. Another one ringing the bell. Might be my daughter this time, and I guess my my son is outside with his new bow and arrow. So yeah, I'll have to run again. Sorry for that. This time it was my daughter. Oh, yeah. You know what, folks? I'll continue writing another time. I would rather do some words on stream with you. I think that's a much more fun use of my time. So, let's do that. So, you know how it works. You get letters, you need to build words, enter them in chat. Names aren't allowed. Letters can only be used once. In later levels, there will be fake letters, but we'll first have to get there. Last time, we were able to go to level 13, so let's see how far we can go today. Get ready. So many words, and none of them come to mind. Coil, very nice. Didn't work. Why doesn't it work? Oh, there's only one L. Yeah. I'm completely blanking. Nope, can't think of anything. Oh, the Lommen getting us over the line in the last second. Nice work. Brilliant. Let's try level 2. Hope we're going to fare better this time. Wait, what? There's no L. Oh, crap. Wow, of course it's Balthasar, de-lurking for the longest word. Welcome, mate. How you doing? Wow. Great job, folks. No? Only one E. I was also hoping for detail exegete, but there's no L. But still, we managed to finish the level, and that's all that counts. Ooh, another last second entry. Which probably gave us 2 levels. Nice one, Balthasar. As always. Dominating the game. Adam, unfortunately, it doesn't work. Pretty sure. Yeah. Adage, yeah, nice. I vote for Mega. Mega should also work. But it's just a prefix, I guess. Yeah, it's more of a prefix or a colloquialism at the most. Still, only one 4-letter word left. What might that be? Something that I've never heard, probably. What was it? Egad? How very Shakespearean. Just a fraction of a second before me, Fuller's novel. Oh, we are already in fake letter territory. Yeah, right. Thanks for the warning. Sometimes I'm just thinking too complicated. Doing really well. Ah, the I is the fake letter, of course. Don't have my head in the game. Thankfully you do. We well passed the line to the next level. Balthazar with 91 points, Exegete 50, then Duke, Fool's Novel tied for third place, Metod Isakolov, Ivan the Raging Python, and then me, and the Lumen and Inode. Great! No L again. We are definitely lacking L's here. Okay, let's determine the fake letter. Ooh, fishing, nice. Might the A be fake? Thought so. The A is the fake letter, Mr. Fullsack. Full's Novel, same here, same here. Sometimes I'm really amazed how many words there are left. Say, like full four-letter words like this one, and I completely blank on anything. I mean, in this case, it's just one four-letter and one five-letter word that we're missing. But sometimes there are 8 additional ones and no one came up with them. So it's a nice way to also expand your vocabulary. Let's see how far we can get. We are now at level 11. How do you immediately see these long words? Good catch there, Exegete. Exude, of course, if there's exclude. Did we already have deed? Why did deed not work? Strange. But still, level 12. Let's see how far... Oh, only 1D. Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, sometimes you really see what you want to see. Nice. I didn't see the O there. Okay, now I'm developing tunnel vision. I know it already had soar just a second before me. Yeah, it would have been an epic fail if we hadn't got Rose. I would say the D is fake. Yep. Just when I was about to type it. It did actually accept bros. That's nice. Okay. Level 13. Can we crack the channel record? Let's see if we can master level 13. Level 13 is always cursed. A T, okay. Let's go for it. Guess we got the T too late. We did reach the high score, but we didn't pass it. But still, level 13 is nothing to be ashamed of. Great stuff.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Uber Linux. Welcome to the stack. With that name, you're definitely at the right place. Well done. So the final score is Balthazar, 200 stars. Exegete, about half of that. Duke with 65. Fullesnabel with 51. Again, tied with inode. Nice. And then me with 50, Ivan with 40, Meto Dizakolov with 40, with 27, the Laman with 11, and Marcus just joining us and not getting too many points in that last round, I guess. Hope your butt is feeling better, mate. Okay, so I guess that was a nice game of Words on Stream. Loved that. Butt is great. How's the neck then? Yeah, Balthazar can't be beat. That's definitely. But hey, he's who carries us. So not going to complain in any way. That was a nice stream, and I'm really thankful for everyone who followed. Again, thanks for all the subscriptions last time. HMida74, that was very generous. And yeah, I'll be back on Friday with my office hour stream. You can leave questions for me on Discord, or of course you can also post them live on chat. Friday at 2 p.m. UTC, I'm going to do the office hour where I'm simply going to answer questions from you. There won't be a live coding stream on Thursday because I have a work appointment that day that I can't reschedule. And I might do another live stream as a replacement tomorrow. I can't promise it, but it's likely. So I hope to see you soon. Let's find someone to raid, shall we? I can't see anyone. We raided Finite Singularity last time, so if you know of someone else who would be a good raiding target, let me know. Otherwise, I guess it's still fine to raid Finite. Trelextorf. Yeah, why not? Only 4 viewers, so either he just started or he's already wrapped up his stream. Let me see.
Where am I working these days? I am working for myself. Learn with Jason is a full-time gig these days. So,
all right. So we'll raid Jason. As always, folks, thank you for chatting. Thanks for making this a great community stream, and join the Discord if you like. And I'll see you either tomorrow or on Friday. And Until next time, take care. Now we are going to raid Jason Langsdorff. See you.